Good evening, everyone. Late Night Mega here, and tonight we're going to start a little bit of a series on answering the question of what's the best way to build a collection of cards in Magic Arena. So in this video, we're going to be focusing primarily on Premier Draft and Traditional Draft, and we're going to be looking at some hard data from my experiences in various different draft formats and what the results of that was. So first off, what is a Premier Draft? Well, we have a Premier Draft event here. So what a draft event is you will get 3 packs, and you'll open one up, you'll pick a card, and then you'll pass the rest of the cards. And then someone passes you, their pack minus the card they picked. You pick a card from that, and so on and so forth. And you do that for all 3 packs. And then you use the cards that you drafted to build a deck and play games with that. And so this event, as you can see, costs either 10,000 gold or 1,500 gems to enter. And if you talk to most people who've been around Arena a lot, they will tell you that the best way of collecting cards is to do these drafts instead of just going to the store and buying booster packs, which you can do. See, we go to the store here and buy some packs. And so for the purposes of this video, 1 pack is going to be 200 gems or 1,000 gold. I'm actually going to be, for the sake of simplicity, I'm going to convert all of our costs to gems in that. I just feel like it's the easiest way to kind of show what the costs are in relation to everything. So the first thing you'll notice about the prize structure of a Premier Draft is that if you get 7 wins, you get 2,200 gems and 6 packs, which is obviously more than the cost to enter the draft. And 6 wins gets you 1,800 gems and 5 packs. 5 wins gets you 1,600 gems and 4 packs. And then you drop below the 1,500 gem prize. 4 wins gets you 1,400 gems and 3 packs. 3 wins gets you 1,000 gems and 2 packs. 2 wins gets you only 250 gems and 2 packs. 1 win gets you 100 gems and a pack. And 0 wins gets you 50 gems and 1 pack. So the obvious prospect here is, oh hey, if I just go 5 to 7 wins every single time, I can go infinite on these drafts and make a huge profit. How does that turn out? Well, we'll see that when we get to the data, but spoiler alert, it's not likely. Don't count on going infinite in these drafts. Same thing with traditional drafts. Now, what is the difference with a traditional draft? Well, I got to go to the actual events here to get one. All right, so a traditional draft, you do the same drafting process. Both Premier Draft and Traditional Draft are done with players. So you're drafting with other actual real players. You're not drafting with bots like a quick draft would be. We'll touch more on quick draft in a later video, and we'll do some comparisons between quick drafting and premier drafting, and also comparisons between quick drafting and just buying packs in the store. But the traditional draft here, you'll get your deck, but instead of doing a best of 1 format like premier drafts, these formats will be best of 3. Meaning you'll play best 2 out of 3 games, and you'll play 3 matches regardless. A Premier Draft, you play as many games until you either hit 7 wins or you hit 3 losses. So, traditional draft, as you can see, the top prize here is 2,500 gems, 6 packs. So more gems than the Premier Draft, although the cost is still the same as the Premier Draft to enter. And you get these 2 play-in points. I'm not going to go into too much detail on these, but basically you can take 20 play-in points and do this once a month play-in qualifier event. Where the worst prize you can get there is 500 gems, and, the prizes just go up from there. But I'm not going to factor these play-in points into any sort of tangible gem cost or gem value or anything like that. We're only going to be looking at the packs and the gems. 2 wins gets you 1,000 gems and 3 packs. So immediately you notice, in order to be profitable on traditional drafts, you need to get to 3 wins. At least more often than you get to the other win amounts. It used to be, before they introduced these play-in points, these traditional drafts used to give you 3,000 gems and 6 packs. For 2,500 gems, and a lot of people would say, you can go infinite more easily with traditional drafts being, the 3,000 gems in that. With 2,500 gems, I personally don't think it's worth it, but we're going to look at some data on some traditional drafts that I did to get a better picture of that. 2 wins gets you the same prize as 3 wins in a Premier Draft, and that's 1,000 gems and 3... Oh, well, this is 3 packs. In Premier Draft, it's 2 packs for 3 wins. 1 win gets you 250 gems in 1 pack, and 0 wins gets you 100 gems and 1 pack. Alright, so now let's take a look at some data that I have. We'll skip on over to some spreadsheets I made. So what I did is I compiled a lot of the number of drafts I did, number of wins I got at each draft, and the amount of gems and packs won. And let's see how that compares to just buying packs in the store. So that will be over here. And we're going to start with Streets of New Capenna. Now, this one went very phenomenal for me. So first, let's talk about what we're looking at. Over here is our data table. This is the number of wins you can get in a Premier Draft. And this is the tally, or how many drafts I got this result. So I had a total of 20 drafts, and 3 of those drafts I got only 1 win. 3 of them I got 2 wins. 2 of them I got 3 wins, etc., etc. I did get 6 drafts at 7 wins, which was very phenomenal. And you can see the gems we got back. This is multiplied by the amount you win. So 2,200 gems times the 6 wins. That's how we get that number. And then same with the number of packs. This is a total number of packs. 6 times 6 being 36 packs. And you'll see that I won back 26,050 gems and 74 packs doing Streets of New Capenna Premier drafts. And so what does all this mean? Well, if you take the cost of 20 drafts, 20 times 1,500 gems is a total cost of 30,000 gems. Now, does that mean, hey, let's take this 30,000 gems and just go buy packs with it at the store, and that's the same as entering 20 drafts? Well, no. Because you see, when I may have spent 30,000 in gems doing these events, these draft events, but I got back 26,050 gems. Those were the total gems I won. If you just go to the store and you buy 150 packs and you go down 30,000 gems, you're down 30,000 gems. You don't get any gems back, right? So the real number we need to look at is the gain or loss in terms of number of gems. So I ended up losing about 3,000, well, not about, exactly 3,950 gems doing 20 drafts. So in essence, I got 74 packs for the cost of 3,950 gems, which you can't get that rate in the at the store. Not even close to that. And this also doesn't even count the number of rares and mythics that we drafted, because you get to keep all of those cards that you draft as well. Now, for Streets of New Capenna, I did go through and I added up how many rares and mythics I got throughout those 20 drafts. I'm not going to do that for all the rest of these. That would be a little bit too much for me, but I ended up drafting 70 rares and 10 mythic rares over the course of 20 drafts, which averages out to about 4 rares or mythics per draft. Some of them I had more, some of them I had less. So yeah, and then this is the comparison here, where we take the 3,950 gems we're down, and divide that by the 200 gem to buy a pack. And so instead of doing 20 drafts of Streets of New Capenna, we could have bought only 19 packs, which 19 is far less than 74. Now, a few things to note. This total gem cost does not factor into, I didn't actually have 30,000 gems. It also doesn't factor in when we get our wins. So sometimes if you get a lot of 1 and 2 wins, I also have this nice chart over here. For you visual people that like the charts, you can see I had a lot of 7 win drafts compared to anything else here. But if you get a lot of 1 and 2 and 3 wins early on, you're going to spend more gems initially to get to this same result. So it also depends where that falls. Also, this total cost is just simply the 1,500 gems times the number of drafts I did. This is not taking into account any sort of other discounts I would get. It's not taking into account when I use 10,000 gold, which is the free currency you get in Arena to enter these drafts. So I did enter some of them with gold, so this wasn't, 30,000 flat out in gems. There's also draft tokens that you get from the Set Mastery Pass as a bonus. Again, I'm just counting those as 1,500 gems just for the sake of simplicity. If you wanted to turn the gems into a U.S. currency dollar amount, we could go to the store, and what I would always base it on, of course it depends on how you buy your gems, if you do buy gems, that is I would base it on the $20,000 or 20,000 gems for $100 here. That is the best value. You guys can do the math on this. Basically, if you bought the 3,400 gems 5 times, you would get 18,000 gems. So yeah, buying in bulk does give you a discount when you're buying gems. So if you're buying gems, save up, get the $100 worth. That is my recommendation for that. Anyways, and then the last thing I want to draw our attention to is this average gem gain or loss. Of course, this is a loss because we lost gems overall on these drafts. So I lost an average of 197.5 gems in each of the 20 drafts. which is actually a very phenomenal rate, as we'll see as we go through some of these other sets that I've drafted. Now, some of these sets, like this next one, Kaladesh Remastered, I didn't get as many drafts, and you can see I've only got 12 drafts in total. And that is because some of these sets, they only had the premier drafts available for like about a week at a time. They just brought back some of these sets, some of these older sets, to draft for 1 week, and that was it. So I would have liked to have drafted some of these a little bit more, build up my collection from those. But again, we can see 12 drafts. You can see the breakdown on the number of wins I got on each draft, and this one is a little bit more evenly distributed. There's not a huge chunk of 7 wins like there was in Streets of New Capenna. But regardless of that, I still ended up getting 39 packs overall from the packs we won, and a total cost of 18,000 gems. Gems won 14,650, so only lost 3,350 gems with an average loss per draft of 279.17 gems. So if we took our gems lost, or net loss here, I'm an accountant, by the way. This is this is totally like my sort of gig. We take our gems lost, divide that by the number of packs, and what this is saying is we could have taken this 3,350 gems that we lost and bought only 16 packs with that if we just went to the store and bought packs instead of doing all of these drafts. And obviously 16 is less than the number of packs we won, and this isn't even counting like all of the cards that we drafted as well. So that does have some value in building your collection. Amonkhet Remastered went a little bit better than Kaladesh. Had 12 drafts again. It was my goal to have the same number of drafts for those two sets. And this one had a lot more at the 5 and 7 win number of wins. It didn't have any at 6, which was interesting. But we ended up only down 2,400 gems, which is an average loss of 200 gems per draft. And then we move on to Alchemy Horizons Baldur's Gate. This one is also kind of special. We're also going to look at collection progress at the end of this, and this is going to be one of the sets I want to focus on when I talk about collection progress and what we can do in the drafting. I had 24 premier drafts total, and you can see the win distribution here. Yeah, a lot of 7 wins, but even getting a lot of 7 wins doesn't always make up for these results. So this whole idea of going infinite is not really that realistic of a thing to shoot for. It's nice when you get, of course, it's nice when you get 5, 6, or 7. I even say I'll take 4 wins every single draft, because 4 wins every draft, you get 1,400 gems back, and you're only down 100 gems, and you can see my average loss per draft is 350, so a bit more of a loss here. Because I did more drafts, and I had the same number of drafts at 7 wins as I did Streets of New Capenna, but I had more down here in the 1 through 3 wins as well. And so that kind of hurts a bit. But where are we at here? We're 77 packs and 8,400 gem lost overall. And so if we divide that, we could have bought 42 packs instead from the store. But doing these drafts, we got 77 packs plus all the cards we drafted. So again, what I'm saying is drafting is a phenomenal value and great way to build a collection. That's just kind of the point of this. Innistrad Midnight Hunt. So these next couple were standard legal sets. Midnight Hunt and Kamigawa Neon Dynasty. Again, they were available for like a week just before Dominaria United came and the standard had its rotation back in September. I was only able to do 8 drafts of these. Now, if you look at my playlist, for my drafts on these, I did not show you all 8 of the drafts. This was kind of a frustrating format for me to draft. Some of that kind of comes through in the results here, although this is kind of a lower sample size, only being 8 drafts instead of what we had on some of the others where it was 20 or 24 or even 12. But after 8 drafts, I'm down 3,800 gems, which is an average loss of 475 gems. But I do want to show these because this can still be kind of like a realistic sort of outcome for you if you're doing these drafts. And here we won 20 packs in these 6 drafts we did. 8 drafts, sorry. And if we took our gems lost and divide that by the pack cost, we could have went to the store and bought 19 packs. And that's fairly comparable to this 20 packs here. But it still isn't, because we did 8 drafts and got, 8 drafts worth of rares and mythics out of that deal. And all the commons and uncommons as well. But if you draft enough, you'll kind of naturally get a play set of almost all the commons and uncommons in the set, even before you go opening packs. Kamigawa Neon Dynasty went a little bit less horrible than Innistrad did. Had 11 drafts total for this one and won 34 packs and 11,900 gems. That comes out to a 4,600 gem loss over the course of 11 drafts, which averages out to a loss of about 418 gems per draft. And we could have bought, with the 4,600 gems, we could have bought 23 packs, which is less than 34. Now, there are golden packs now, where if you buy 10 packs of the current standard set, which as of the recording of this, it's Brothers War. And if you buy 10 packs, you get a golden pack, which will contain 6 rare, is guaranteed 1 mythic, and 5 other rares or mythics, all standard legal, by the way. Even if we factored that in, this would have gotten us 2 golden packs. And if we want to count these rares or mythics, these golden packs as 6 rares or mythics, and I just value those at 200 gems each, because you can buy a pack and open any rare or mythic. So essentially, we would be getting another 12 rares or mythics from this, which would put this total at, 35 rares or mythics, which is slightly more than the amount of packs we won. But again, this doesn't factor into all the cards we drafted over the course of 11 drafts, which there would have been more rares and mythics being drafted in those 11 drafts. Again, I only have the Streets of Nuka Pendant numbers, but that averaged out to about 4 rares or mythics per draft. Of course, if you actually sit down and do a Premier draft, you'll actually see a lot more rares, but if you're trying to craft a good deck in the drafts, you can't just grab every single rare in sight and expect to get consistently these good results of 4 wins or more. So that is something to take note of. Now, Throne of Eldraine, this one is kind of a little bit of an anomaly. A little bit of an outlier from the others, as is, the next one we're going to get to. It shall not be named right now. Throne of Eldraine, I was able to do 7 drafts of this while it was out. And you can see I actually profited in gems. So, didn't lose any gems, so I actually gained 2,100 gems over the course of 7 drafts. I only had enough time to do 7 drafts of this one, but 4 of those 7 drafts were 7 wins. It was it was an absolutely phenomenal time for me. And the other results I got were either 3 or 4 wins. So, yeah, that was an average gain of 300 gems per draft. Now, if I had done about like 20 or 25 drafts of Throne of Eldraine, I would expect more results, probably more towards the Streets of New Capenna, as this format seemed to be going pretty well for me, but I would still expect getting some lower results eventually, and this number probably not being profitable overall. All right, the next one, the Dark Horse. Oh gosh, Dominaria United. You can see here, this Premier Draft was just an absolute train wreck for me. And this can be a realistic result for you too. I did a total of 18 drafts. And I only had 4 drafts total that were 5 wins or more, that were profitable in terms of number of gems. Which is absolutely awful. I had a ton of 1 and 2 win drafts. This was just a very frustrating format for me. I'm not going to get into that here, but if you want to hear me rant about that, I talk about my issues with the format in the pack opening video, and throughout like half of the later half of the Dominaria United draft. So not going to get into that here. But what I will note is that I did a total of 18 drafts, won only 46 packs from the Premier drafting, and, lost a total of 11,950 gems over the course of 18 drafts, which is an average loss of 663, basically 664 gems per draft. And we could have taken these gems that we lost and bought a total of 59 packs. You'd still have like 150 left over because that's not quite even. So, yeah, rounds down to 59 packs. And 59 is actually greater than 46. However, that math does not take into account the rares and mythics we drafted over the course of those 18 drafts. And I did some other experimenting with Dominaria United as well. Remember, earlier on in the set, I did some traditional drafting. And I wanted to see how traditional drafting compared to Premier drafting as far as, like, how long I can go. And this is probably the worst set for me to do this with, but this will show you the traditional draft results. I did a total of 8 drafts before I gave up on this. The first couple, I got 3 wins, and which is the 2,500 gem prize. Things were going great. I was loving that. This packs 1 is not accurate. This is not accurate at all. That should be 6, and that should be 4. I thought I went through and I worked out all the bugs with this. That should not be 4. That should be 3. Okay, so I won a total of 22 packs. But in the course of 8 drafts, I lost 4,000 gems, which is an average loss of 500 gems, which is worse off than, even Kamigawa or Midnight Hunt, just by a little bit. But I was feeling pretty bad about getting all these 1 and 2 results after getting those 2-3 wins and then just never being able to reach that again. And as you can see, you end up losing gems pretty quickly. So I kind of backed out of this. I personally don't recommend traditional drafting. But if that's your cup of tea, I mean, it is more of an experience where you'll be dealing with sideboards and that. So I know some people do like that when they do drafts. But my recommendation would be Premier Draft over traditional draft. If you're looking to build a collection with the lowest sort of gem loss per draft. And then I have the Dominaria United Alchemy Premier Drafts. I wanted to separate these out because these are awarded in Alchemy packs. But here I was able to do 6 drafts in the time that they had the Alchemy drafts. It's another one of those things that's only available for like 1 week. And yeah, this one actually went very well for me. Did 6 drafts. Only one back, 8,650 gems. Most of my wins, as you can see, were out of this small sample size of 6 drafts, were in the 5 to 7 win range. So yeah, only lost 350 gems overall, 124 packs, average loss of 58 gems per draft. We could have taken that 350 gems and bought all of 1 pack, and instead we got 24 plus all the cards we drafted. Yeah, you guys know the deal by now. And finally, I'm going to show you the Brothers War data I have. There is a silver lining to all this loss, all these losses here in Dominaria United, specifically traditional and main. We're going to look at the collection progress overall, and yeah, there is a silver lining to this. But we're gonna take a look at Brothers War real quick. I did 13 Premier drafts. You're not going to see all of them on the channel because there was a couple that just didn't go well and didn't want to show those. You guys didn't miss much. But did 13 drafts, Premier drafts overall, and won a total of 35 packs, which losing 6750 gems. So we could have bought 33 packs, which would have gotten us 6 gold packs as well. So here again, you're kind of really banking on, drafting some of the rares and mythics, which you're going to do anyways. So this looks like this is one of the instances where it looks like that buying packs could be slightly better. And even with the golden packs, I'm still going to say that it's generally not. Yeah, the issue here I had with Brothers War is I had a lot of 4 and 5 wins, as you can see. But the 4 and 5 wins just kind of balance each other out to like a net 0, is like a wash. I only had 1 draft where I got the 7 wins, and then the others out of the 13 were all 0 to 3. So that's why this is so low, with an average loss of 519 gems. Brothers War Alchemy, I did 10 drafts of this. You guys can see the results. 4,300 gem loss, average loss of 430 gems per draft. So you guys can see some of the variance on these. Anywhere from losing 58, losing 197 or around the 200, 279 mark, to when things get really bad and losing nearly 700 gems per draft, or 500. So that's just kind of what I wanted to show with all of this, is that you can expect that you'll probably lose gems over time. You're not going to go infinite, but you will build a pretty decent collection. Let's pop over to, this is the untapped.gg. I recommend you get this. This is a great little collection tracker. Shows you all sorts of stats for how your decks are doing, what they're winning and losing against. Really great. Shows you all your drafts as well, which is how I compiled some of this data. Dominaria United, let's start there, because here's the silver lining. You guys can see I have 218 out of 240 rares. Now, some of these did come from the free packs you get outside of... I had more packs than what I just won by the Premier drafts in traditional drafts. I did get packs from the Set Mastery, packs from the month-end rewards, and things like that. So that's why this is higher than what it seems like it should be. Plus all of the rares and mythics that we drafted during the drafts as well contributed to this, and 61 out of 80 mythics. So while Dominaria United was an absolute train wreck for me, the silver lining is I almost have the set complete. Now, one thing I did want to note is Alchemy Horizons Baldur's Gate. You saw how many drafts I did of that. Wasn't it like 24 or something? More premier drafts. My rare and mythic count is lower here. And I think I opened like 142 packs, I think it was. Maybe 143. It was over 140. I remember that much. It was a little bit more than Dominaria United. I think I had like 134 for the pack opening video on that. And I came off with a much better collection progress, especially in the mythics department. Because when I was drafting the Baldur's Gate set, I did not collect, I didn't draft a lot of the mythics or the rares. I had a lot of drafts where I had 0 to 2 rares that I ended up drafting and ended up passing a lot of mythics. When I started doing Dominaria United, during the drafts, I did snap up every mythic I saw that I didn't have 4 copies of. And you can see in the collection progress how that panned out for me. After opening the packs, ended up having a lot more mythics doing that. Collection progress. Now, Streets of New Capenna, the reason why I couldn't just go by these numbers is that I was getting rares and mythics from other sources as well, like those free packs that you get, the month-end rewards that I've mentioned, the set mastery. Also, this is also taking into account like the rares and mythics that I've crafted using wild cards. So that's in there as well. So looking at this isn't necessarily the most accurate, though. For Dominaria United, I did not actually craft a whole lot of rares or mythics. There was 4 rares I know I crafted before opening packs, maybe a couple of more, and maybe like 2 or 3 afterwards. So really not a lot of the rares and mythics. Yeah, we can look at other collection progress, but that's just what I wanted to point out was the mythic drafting versus not mythic drafting, and ending up with a lot more mythics. I was a lot more satisfied with my mythic collection, and I go into more detail of this in the pack opening video for Dominaria United and talk about that difference. But I think that is worth noting. And Brothers War, well, I'm still drafting Brothers War, which might actually be coming to a close soon, but yeah, you can see my collection progress on that. So yeah, if you're looking to build a collection on Arena, I have to highly recommend drafting instead of just simply buying packs. Does that mean you shouldn't buy packs ever? Not necessarily. I do think with the golden packs that it could be worth it. It could be worthwhile to use golden packs to supplement your collection and get a couple of these per set. But I wouldn't use buying packs and even with these golden packs as the primary or only method of collecting. And in fact, I don't even recommend premier drafting as the only method of building a collection for a set on Arena. But we're going to get into more of that in future videos. If you guys like this sort of thing, or if you want me to do sort of like the data breakdown of like the drafting and stuff for each set that I do, I'm not really planning on doing that past... I do want to do it for Brothers War and the upcoming Phyrexia set, but past that, we'll have some final conclusions to this little series we're doing here, and we'll be comparing like the premier drafting to quick drafting down the road as well. So that'll be interesting, but I'm still working on, actually going through the process of doing the drafts for that and compiling that data. So yeah, this will be an interesting series, and we're going to talk about some other ways of building collections as well coming up. But for now, I'll take my leave.